Do you understand what the ego really is? Are you trying to get rid of the ego? Do you want to know how to live with the ego? How many questions on the spiritual path have you had about the ego? I find that so many people are confused about what we call the ego, trying to get rid of something we never created. Where do we even start? Do we start with what do those who mention the ego, what it really is? Do we start with how to get rid of it? Do we start with pointing out that you don't have to get rid of it? But then at the same time, how can you live and embody your true essence with the ego still remaining? So many questions. I can't make this video too long. I could go on, but I will share with you that you don't have to get rid of the ego. And yes, we're going to call it the ego. We're going to bring life to what those who mention the ego to what they mention it as. Because you could even argue the ego is giving it another description or a label. We can't even really describe it. But for the sake of this video, for the sake of understanding and learning, we're going to call it the ego. The ego, the personality, the you believe you are. Those are just different names for the exact same thing. That which leads to suffering, that which leads to frustration, that which can lead to the most drastic and unhumane decisions for some people. Because when you believe in the ego as the ultimate reality, the limited self, who knows what you will actually act upon? But what if you don't have to get rid of the ego per se? Because it never really existed. Wow. What is this guy even saying in this video? What I'm saying to you here is the best of my ability to help you understand this is the mirror and the reflection. You cannot have a reflection without the mirror. They are one in one of the same. They do not stand apart. And if you believe they do, that is simply the mind filling in the gaps and telling you that there is separation between that which the mirror projects. Well, you are a mirror. Consciousness itself, awareness itself is a mirror. And this is its reflection. But its reflection doesn't have to be described. Its reflection doesn't have to be assumed. Its reflection cannot be elaborated on truthfully. It must just stop at its reflection, because once we try to describe it like all of these videos, you limit it. You put it in a box. Even calling it consciousness and awareness limits it. But how could you ever talk about it then? How could the human mind understand it? Well, the human mind understanding it is the least important of everything. How could you feel it? How could you point to it? That's the one question. How could you point to that which you can't describe, even a little bit? So you have to a little. And that's why we call it the ego. But the ego is part of the mirror. It's part of the reflection. It's part of who you believe you are. The whole idea of an individual experience is the limiting factor. What that means is for the individual to believe that they are having experience, for the mirror consciousness itself to believe that it is having a limited experience, its dream per se, it must leave things out. It must limit itself and seem to be individual. It must seem to be a center of experience. And this is where we lose it. The thoughts that arise, the hearing, the seeing, even describing more of what is noticed, the sensations, the form, and once again, all of this wrapped into a bundle becomes who you think you are. It becomes who you live out. It's a character in a story. It isn't real. The ego isn't real, but at the same time it is. It's a paradox of its own, and you don't have to get rid of it, because it's not even created. My mind's blown, guys. What I'm saying here is, here's the reflection, here's the mirror. They are the same exact thing, and you can not have one without the other. They are one in the whole, and so are you, who you think you are, and the reflection as the reflection of consciousness. It's all one. There's no divided, there's no separation, there's no duality. You can point out the duality so you can see the separation of not what you are, but at the end of the day, that's making a concession again. Guys, it's a magnificent, mind-blowing, astonishing experience. And once you give anything a description or a label of what you think is happening, what somebody thinks is happening, what somebody thinks is happening that's standing outside of them, well, now you're limiting it. Now you're playing into the ego. You're playing into the show. So what I really wanted you to get from this video is that ego you're trying to get rid of is not something you need to get rid of. It's kind of like, I've heard this from expressed by other teachers, it's like you're walking in the dark in a field and you see a snake, but you shine your light on it and it's actually a rope. So that snake was that ego, right? That snake was what you believed was so bad, but you shine the light on it now because you investigated deeper. You've had a glimpse into truth and you've seen that ego, the snake, was simply a rope. It was the imagination giving it more life than it deserves. But when it goes dark again, when the material world seems to consume you, when you feel lost again, when the blindfold gets slipped back on, is it going to remain a snake to you that you fear, or are you going to remember it's a rope because you've investigated? It's okay if you remember it's a snake, just don't let your belief captivate you. Snap back out of it and remember it was a rope this whole time. What I'm saying here, guys, is you're going to have to investigate deeper. You're going to have to look harder. Not as someone seeking or searching, but in truth itself. Mind isn't needed for this and never will be. Description and labels are not your friend when you are remembering truth. What your friend is, remembering that the mirror and the reflection are not separate. The awareness, the essence you are, is not separate from the body. It is not separate from the seeing and hearing. It is not separate from the ego or the personality. But it really isn't described. That's mind construct creating an ego, seeing and hearing. What's experienced just is. That's the beauty of it all. And when you surrender to this isness, this experience, this pure bliss, well, what are you left with? Somebody who's an ego, or a simple reflection that's known like everything else? Take care, guys.